Good afternoon. We are here live for our first interview with speakers from the Hiring from the Sidelines Training Conference. We have with us Peter J. Harris. We are waiting for Kendra Smith, and as soon as she arrives, we will definitely make her available for this broadcast. So thank you very much, Peter, for joining us.
Yeah,
How are you
pleasure.
doing today? Good, good. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm all the way out here in Altadena, California.
Good. Looks like you're having beautiful weather, so we hope that everything will cooperate with us.
we hope this overcast doesn't turn into rain in the next 30 minutes.
Oh, good, good. I'm sure we'll be fine.
All
So
right.
I am excited about the conference. I'm excited about you joining us all the way from California. So just to do a little bit of a few particulars, the conference is October 25th, 6th, and 7th here in Washington, D.C. And it is a professional development training conference that's targeted to workforce development and the social services industry. So first of all, Peter, can you just let us know why you decided to be a speaker for this conference?
Because I'm always interested in joining with folks who are working to, one, identify what's powerfully unique about powerful individuals. So as we talked many times, when we look at folks who are trying to make transitions for employment, for example, maybe they're changing their seasons of life, maybe they're coming out of incarceration, there's always a need to make sure you look those individuals in the eye and say, what are you standing for? Who are you right now in your life? What are your visions? Where do you want to go? How do you want to look your difficulties in the eye and then turn around and convert difficulties into opportunities? So as a person who's a creative man, I'm a writer and a theater producer and playwright and a fiction storyteller. I'm interested in always using creativity, always tapping into the imagination as tools for working to build a person's personal power, working to help a person build his or her particular strategies to move into the next phases of their lives. So that's what I wanted to do at the conference, is be a kind of a lightning bolt of a person. This is a role I think artists always have played in society, and I'd like to contribute that angle to this upcoming conference.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's really the focus of the conference. It is really to bring that humanistic approach back to human services, social services, workforce development. We've been providing workforce development services for about 17 years now, and it has really been proven to us here at ImageWorks why we need to take this approach. So based on your background, what are the top 3 ideas or strategies that you would want the attendees to walk away with?
Sure. Well, first, you don't want to look at where you are as your final destination. Now, that's not original with me, but I do feel that, all of us having gone through transitions in our lives, I think it's almost human nature when you're in a frustrating circumstance to just get depressed, frankly, and to get stuck, and to think that where you are right now is where you are destined to be, where you're going to be, tomorrow, the next month, the next year. That's not the case at all. In fact, wherever we are is just the downbeat, as the musicians would say, for the change in your life, the chord change. And so for me, the second thing I would want to encourage people and teach people or inspire people to think about is, all right, what's the chord change? What's the rite of passage? What is the passageway you have to go through to get to where it is you say you want to be? Because in fact, a lot of what we have in front of us depends on the choices we make. There are other larger structural things, laws, economics, etc. I'm not going to pretend that they don't have an impact on our individual lives. They do, they will, and they always have been. But I do feel that if you're talking about number two, making a shift, then you need to conceive of your life as if you are being in the middle of a rite of passage. So I want you to think in terms about, where do I go from here? What are some really, really simple things I can do to take steps in that larger direction? So 3, always celebrate. Always find a way to celebrate an accomplishment, no matter how small, no matter how intimate. Reward yourself with a sense of sort of passionate A-OK. No, don't fake the funk now. Oh, don't fake it. No, you know what I mean? Because one baby step is not going to get you to the mountain, to the top of the mountain by any means. But while you're going up there, maybe you reach a ledge, then make sure you don't just sit there breathing hard. You look to the right, you look to the left, and you say, oh, what's the view in that direction? What have what's the distance I've traveled? And I think those are kind of 3 essential steps that I would want people to take away from, collaborating with me at the conference.
Okay, good. Well, I'm happy to say that Kendra has found her way to us, so she will be with us in just a few seconds.
Yeah.
Kendra, hey, how are you?
Hello. I apologize, you all. I was on early, and I think something happened, so then I just clicked the link again, and here I am. So thank you for your patience. Hello, Peter. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Look forward to working with you.
Good. The same. Well, I am so glad that you have found your way to our Facebook Live interview. This is super exciting.
Yes, it is.
So Kendra, we haven't gotten too deep in, so you're right on time. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is, why did you decide to be a part of the Hiring from the Sidelines conference?
Wow. My first reason for choosing to be a part of Hiring for the Sidelines conference was really because of the person that asked me. And so it's not a shameless plug, but it's the truth. Carla, I have known Carla Harris and worked with her and ImageWorks for some time now. And initially met Carla and ImageWorks as a part of my work as a program monitor for the Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services and programs. And Carla's program was one of the programs that we partnered with. And I must say it was one of the strongest programs, top flight, just in terms of services being provided, the level of professionalism provided, as well as just really getting our young people working with, a population that finds themselves, with a lot of different risk factors in their lives. But she came right in and was able to work strongly. And I agree with her model. And when she first talked to me about this Hiring from the Sidelines conference and shifting to beginning to focus on the person that's actually providing the service, it was a light bulb. I said, absolutely, because not only do I have confidence in images, but I also have a passion for the work. And so a passion for the people. So that was my second decision, was I had a passion. It spoke to me from within and I know that this is a gap in service right now in human service delivery. A lot of time we focus on servicing the client, but who's helping to provide supportive service to the person connecting with the client, connecting with the child, the youth, the adult, the family? That's a very missing link. And so I was excited to be a part of this opportunity to help fill a gap in human service delivery at this point.
Good. Well, thank you so much. I am so excited to have both of you as a part. So Kendra, given that you have been in workforce development and human service delivery for so long, what do you see as the biggest challenges in human service delivery? And how do you think that this conference will address those challenges?
Wow, that is a big question. I think obviously there are many challenges that we face in human service delivery. Obviously, the clients that we work with are for more money to help support services, so that can be a challenge. Sometimes we have a lot of the systems that we put in place to help sometimes can end up being one of the primary challenges that I think we're facing right now in human service delivery is what we're talking about today, and that
looks like we're having some technical difficulties with Kendra and her feed. So Peter, why don't we come back to you for a second while we get things squared away with Kendra?
Okay. Well, I like what she was saying, and you guys are the more intimately involved with human services, but I have worked consistently since my youth with folks who probably would fall in every demographic category that, you know, typically covers the quote unquote population served by human services organizations. So I'm very, very serious about service with humility and service with a sense of distinction, and service with a sense of inspiration. You know, I'll take folks back for a minute. So when I was in my youth, I began teaching in Baltimore, you know, at a so-called street academy. They call them all different things now, but you know, basically we were targeting young men and women who were poor and who had challenges in their families. And I remember our leader, a guy named Dr. Irving Hamer, he used to tell us all the time, see these young people and all of their potential in a glance. Don't wait until you get to know them. Come in with positive expectations so that you begin to meet them as a human being. Again, back into that rite of passage. I came to them with more expertise, for example. I was a good writer. I could teach them how to speak and write. I had more experience. I had a family that maybe had a little more stability, we know. But at the same time, they were human beings. They were my folks. They were my young, untrained geniuses. It was my job to figure out how to help them, one, believe in their own genius, two, tap into that genius, three, apply that genius. And that's what creativity taught me in my youth. So when I hear Kendra and I hear you talk about, well, what can we do for the men and women from the leadership of human services organizations to the staff level, stay focused on the humanity of the men and women they serve, that rings a bell for me. Because in fact, that's our job on one hand, but we know those jobs can be burnouts. They can take us into our own, what do they call it now? They can trigger our own frustrations such that as we're in the process of trying to navigate the systems that we have to navigate in order to serve each individual, we could have a tendency to lump our so-called clients. And I love that you guys call them candidates, but we would lump these folks into these easy categories and forget that they each have their own story. They each have their own capacity, and they each deserve us professionals taking that deep breath and maintaining our vision of them as individuals. That's why I like what you guys were talking about, this idea of serving the people who serve the folks who need service.
You know, it's really interesting. I was talking to someone that you probably know, Kendra, here in DC, Penny Griffith, and she was talking about compassion fatigue.
Yes.
And that is really
Yeah.
an area that people don't address. And I mean, her
Yeah.
dialogue about that was so on point with with this kind of, you know, in this, when we give so much, you know, it's, you know, this, in some terms, this is a ministry, right? So we give so much about what it is we give to each other, to the folks we're serving. But when do we have those opportunities for people to feed back into us? And that's really what this whole thing is about, is teaching people how to, one, transform the delivery that we give to the candidates that we serve, and two, know and understand that it is okay for us to get burnt out, or us to get that compassion fatigue that that Ms. Griffith has talked about. I mean, it's really those areas that we need to look at. So why? So we've talked a little bit about why this is important. What are some of the areas or some of the information that you would like to leave our candidates with? And before you answer that, and one of you can go first, I'd like to just say we are accepting comments online. So if you out there in Facebook, if you have any comments or questions for our speakers, we are happy to address those and go from there. So who'd like to take that first question or that question? I do have some other comments coming in, but which of you would like to take that first question? How or what would you like to leave our audience with at the end of this training session in October?
Go right ahead, Kendra.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully I won't freeze up this time. I think that first of all, especially as it relates to my session, because it's called.
You breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So my session is your calling, and it is. I would like to leave those that are a part of that session with an opportunity tool and to consider and to reassess. With the comment about compassion fatigue, some of us have been in this work for a very, very long time, and so I have to be able to. Where am I in my life? Is this?
You're freezing up, Kendra.
Maybe I'm called. Is it okay now?
It's better.
Is this what I'm called to?
Okay, Peter, I'm going to just ask you if you could answer that question.
Well, I actually, again, you know, listening closely to what she's saying. Now, I don't know. I think that if you approach service as a calling, then you still have to be creative and careful not to become a missionary toward the men and women you're, you know, charged or hired to help get work. I think that calling is important for your own personal motivation, for example. I think it's a beautiful concept. You know what I mean? I certainly feel called to do some of the work that I do. I do think that from my perspective, I'm interested in making sure that professionals in human services remember that there's a pride of professionalism. In other words, what is your, you know, you have the sort of the law and the overarching demands of the field, of your agency, the rules, the regulations, etc. But what is your personal mission? What do you really want to, when you look at Mr. Johnson across from you or Miss Johnson across from you, as I said earlier, are you first seeing them as unique Mr. and Miss Johnson? Are you, in other words, are you taking enough time? We know that there's a backlog. There's all kinds of difficulties in this work. But how do you build in a kind of what I call a suppleness? So I think it's important to think about these words. We have to name them, and then we have to say, what would suppleness look like on my day-to-day approach to each person in each envelope, or rather each folder on my desk? When I set up meetings with Ms. Johnson, how would suppleness make me start that meeting? Would it make me say, how would it change my body language, for example? So I would want somebody to think about those things. Another thing I would want is, what signals am I giving? Am I listening to Ms. Johnson or Mr. Johnson? Are they able to hear me listening to them? Right. And then am I listening in a way that says to them, okay, bro, I'm gonna be real candid with you right now. Your dream is a little bigger than your technique. So here's how we're going to adjust that. So you have to be supple too. So these are some of the things that I would say I'm complimenting what I heard Kendra say about calling, but also adding the tools of creativity to that. So I know she's back, so I'll let her jump back in there. Oops, she's still there?
No.
She's got quite a
I would like to address that we have a couple minutes left, and hopefully she can get back on and give us some final pointers.
And do I see some questions and stuff down there?
So we have the questions we have a comment that just says from Samantha Scott saying that it's a good point to not overlook the individual for giving their all to the group. And I think that's what we've been talking about is, even though this is not missionary work, in the true sense of the word, you do have to have a passion for what you do. And that has been one of the critical missing links in a lot of cases in the 17 years that I have been providing workforce development services. And I'm sure Kendra has heard horror stories as well. And the whole purpose of this is because the candidates come to us, for support, for motivation, for inspiration, they then take what we have given them on to their next phase, which is for workforce development, which is in the workplace. And that's why it's so critical for us to say, this is, we are to treat you with respect. You are to have what it takes. And that's really what this conference is all about. Yeah. So we are coming down the pike here. So a couple things I'd like to just say. First of all, I want to thank you both for being here. Kendra, we're going to have to get you back on. We do have some additional interviews coming up.
Oh, great.
On Friday, we're meeting with Major James Hall from the Salvation Army. They have supported us as the top tier sponsor for the Hiring from the Sidelines Conference. On Tuesday of next week, we are meeting with Andrew Rogers, who is the Executive Director of Skyland Workforce. He is one of our latest additions to the conference. I'm really happy to announce that he will be joining us. And I would also like to just thank you, Peter and Kendra, for being a part of this inaugural conference. We are really excited about what's going to take place, and we look forward to all of the attendees. So if I could just give a little bit of logistical information. So it's the Hiring from the Sidelines Conference. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, October 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2017, right here in Washington, D.C. And it is being hosted in partnership with the Council for Workforce Development. So we're really excited. A portion of our proceeds will go to support the council. so that they can continue their work in the area of Wards 7 and 8 in Washington, D.C., which are two of the most economically depressed wards in the city. So I'm really excited that a portion of our proceeds will go to them. Our website is isyourimagworking.com, just like it sounds. I think we have Kendra back here. Is Your Image Working is our website. You can find additional information about the conference. You can find information about sponsorship. And our phone number is 202-450-4246. We are happy to answer any questions that you may have about registration, sponsorships. Our sponsorships allow us to provide limited scholarships for community nonprofits. So we are really excited that we're able to do that. So Kendra, in the couple minutes that we have, do you have any last minute words that you'd like to leave with our audience?
I think you all have said it all, you know, in terms of the intent and the purpose of the conference, and the hope that all of those who attend will have the opportunity to renew and to refresh their commitment to serve, and to stay connected to the work and to the mission and the purpose for which they feel called. And so I just look forward to seeing everyone.
Peter, any last words from you?
Looking forward to being back home in DC to contribute in any way I can.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you both once again. And again, Is Your Image Working is our website, and our phone number is 202-450-4246. This is Carla Harris with ImageWorks Consulting Firm, and we hope to see you at the Hiring from the Sidelines conference in October. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Carla. Bye, Peter. Bye, everyone.
See you, Kendra.
Bye-bye.